Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle news update. Ronnie Coleman just got out of surgery in the last 24 hours, and it looks like all went well. I think this was his 8th surgery. Ronnie told me once he has 8 kids. I think they're all daughters. 8 Olympias, and he was going to have 8 surgeries, and hopefully this is the last one. Ronnie, we want to see you back to being as good as we remember you. I know you've been battling a lot over the last year and a half or so to try to get back to walking properly. That was the goal. Obviously, you've been feeling better. We've seen you in the gym. You're looking good. Your spirits are up. And hopefully after this final surgery, I hope this is your final surgery, we could finally see you back to being pain-free. Because the bottom line is when you get to this stage in life in your 50s, you want to be able to work out, feel good, but you don't want to be walking around in pain and uncomfortable and limited. And you know, I have my own limitations. We all have our own limitations. We all have our own injuries that we deal with on a daily basis. And Ronnie certainly is a warrior. He's been one in the gym. He's been one on the Olympia stage, and now he's one in dealing with all these surgeries and health issues. The good thing about Ronnie is that his health is good, other than the fact that he's got some mechanical problems. That's what I always say. I have some mechanical problems that can be fixed. You know, it's funny. Ronnie Coleman's strength is so unbelievable. A lot of people don't even remember when he first, I guess, exhibited that kind of strength. I'm sure Brian Dobson knew it all along when he was powerlifting with him when he first started. But you know, the first time I was ever really introduced to Ronnie and saw how powerful he was and how much explosive strength he had was we were working for Metrex together. We were both endorsed athletes. This was back in 1997, I believe. We were at the Arnold Classic and we held a contest. It was called Beat the Bull. Jimmy the Bull Pilecki was also an endorsed athlete with Metrex. And Jimmy, you know, prided himself on being able to do, you know, more bench presses. You know, he was a strong guy, but he could do reps too. And it was basically like free form. There was no strict form. It was like beat the bull. Everyone, the whole day at the booth, people who were, you know, visitors and fans could come and try to beat the bull. And they all did as many reps as they could. I think it was 135 curls, you know, which was 2 45-pound plates on a bar, a free bar, curling for reps. And then we did, I think the next day we did bench press. And I think the bench press, I believe it was 225 on the bench press and for reps as well. And Jimmy, you know, I knew Jimmy was able to do like, you know, 50, 60, you know, who knows, crazy amount of reps with these things. He had his own crazy momentum, you know, type of thing going. He was like a piston. And so all these people, you know, Jimmy was the last one to go at the end of the day. And all these people coming up, I didn't get involved because I knew better than, I didn't want to get hurt. All these people were doing tons of reps and you know, we kept keeping track of who was the leader, and the leader would come back every once in a while to the booth to see if anyone beat him. And this was going on all day long, and we were having a ball. And Jimmy was, you know, getting ready to go because he was going to go like at 4 o'clock or something like that at the end of the day. And you know, Ronnie was at the booth, you know, signing pictures the whole day with me, and we're taking pictures with everyone. And I remember I was huge. I probably was about, you know, almost 320 pounds at that point. That was probably the biggest I ever was. Ronnie was probably like, you know, 290, but he looked enormous. Remember, this was the Ronnie Coleman before he won the Olympia. So Ronnie, at the end of the day, Jimmy was about to go, and Ronnie's like, you know, can I go too? And we're all like, you know, yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. You know, figure what is Ronnie gonna get? You know, I mean, Ronnie's got huge arms, but you know, how functional are, you know, 23-inch arms? You know, you always figure that out. You know, usually they're not very functional, but everyone's like, yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. No one knew that Ronnie was strong at all. And Ronnie got on that curl bar, and he did about 70, I don't even remember. Frank Zeppi can quote me, because I think Frank Zeppi came in second behind Ronnie, but Ronnie did like 75 or 80 reps with, you know, 135 pounds on the bar, which is outrageous because the lactic acid that builds up, and he was doing good form too. And Jimmy went, and Jimmy couldn't beat him. Jimmy could have beat anyone there that day except for Ronnie Coleman, you know, probably. And it just goes to show you, so we were blown away by this. But then I think the next day was the bench, and you know, that was Jimmy's forte. Jimmy was the only lunatic to get under a bench press with over 1,000 pounds over his head and actually put it up. So this was, you know, this was his event. You know, so he was waiting all day for this one. Ronnie also did that one. Ronnie did some insane amount of like 80-something repetitions on the bench press. Once again, I know Frank Zeppi could probably knows the exact numbers, but all I know is that Ronnie blew everyone away on that bench press. And I couldn't believe it. At that point, I knew that this guy was superhuman. And you know what? I was starting to get an inkling that this guy might actually be a dangerous guy. You got to remember, Ronnie was a little older, so he was the same age as a lot of these guys who, like Flex Wheeler, who were already killing it. You know, they were already, you know, wiping up the pro scene. Ronnie was kind of just coming up a little later. So I'm like, no one really thought that he would ever be, you know, a dominant factor in bodybuilding because he was a little older. And man, did he prove everyone wrong. After that, I said, this guy's unreal. He's superhuman. And of course, the very next year, you know, he won that Night of Champions. He beat Kevin Levrone, and then what was it? About 6 months later, he won the Olympia and beat Flex Wheeler, you know, who was spectacular that day as well. Nasser El Somebody was third, and he went on that reign, you know, to win, you know, 8 Olympias. So the rest is history, as they say. But I remember that particular day that I said, this guy is unbelievable. And Ronnie, I still think you're unbelievable. I hope you're feeling better. I'm sending out my love, well wishes, prayers, and get back in the gym soon. And we got to get you on the show and find out how you're doing. Dave Palumbo here with an RxMuscle news update.